Here to perform our national anthem from Palm Coast, Florida, please welcome Melissa Trumbull.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes in bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's hear it.
Well done. Well, you heard drivers talk about a learning experience and figuring some things out. This is a rideshare program you're going to want to be a part of. The Clash straight ahead. Live on FS1, aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Those who live up to their names making one for themselves. Goodyear, more driven. See blue skies, temperature up in the 80s. And Jimmy Johnson 7-time champ, 1-time winner here in the Clash.
Yeah, and he's ready. I think this team is focused to turn around what was not a great 17 season and get with it here today.
And can Martin Truex in that 78 Toyota defending his championship do what we said no one else has done, winning that last race, the championship, and capturing the first official race of the season, the Clash? And there's old Happy Harvick, the Bakersfield Basher.
Yeah, he's ready to go as well. Talk to Rodney Childers. He thinks they've got a great plan for today's race. I know there's a lot of people anticipating this race, maybe more so than ever, to see how these cars handle.
He was the fastest Ford in the pole day qualifying earlier in the day, and there is Denny Hamlin. You'd make him one of your favorites today, wouldn't you?
Definitely. You just have to look at his past history. He's won this race 3 times. He always seems to be around at the front at the end. I love Mike Wheeler, the strategy sometimes they pull. Will they pit before lap 25 to get a little track position for late? It's going to be interesting to see.
And there is Brad Keselowski starting at the back of the pack. Now, a quarter of these races, this is the 40th such event, have been won or settled on a last lap pass. Guys who've come from the back before. I guess Jeff Gordon did it, right?
He did. He started in 1997. I think he started last on the field and got the victory. So we know you can charge from the front. But it's going to be interesting to see these guys up front, like Joey Logano, starting third, Austin Dillon on the pole. Can they keep that track position? Can they hold everybody off? I'm going to need that competition caution at lap 25, Chris, to catch my breath. This thing's going to be intense.
75 laps over this 2.5-mile course. Eric Jones, one of the youngsters in the field, and that really is the tone for the upcoming season. We talk about some uncertainty or learning some things. There's kind of 3 different layers. The real experienced, established drivers. There's the young drivers who had some success last year, and then there's the total new wave of young drivers that are kind of finding their way. It was great, by the way, sitting in here with William Byron, who will be on the pit box watching, hoping to learn something for his first Daytona 500.
3 of the young guys I'm going to keep my eye on is Bowman. That's definitely going to be a story. Eric Jones with his new ride, I think he's going to be fun to watch. And William Byron. That kid has checked every box in every series he's ever run in. Be interesting to watch him up against the big boys in the Monster Energy Series.
The Monster Energy Cup Series 2018. A week from today, it's the Daytona 500. Right now, trackside for the Clash.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, founder and chief executive officer for Big Machine Label Group, Scott Borchetta.
On behalf of Advance Auto Parts and Big Machine Records, drivers, start your engines!
It's a good sign to hear those engines kick in. And kicking off NASCAR, the 2018 season, the Clash. And as you look back over some of the past clashes, a number of crashes. We talked about the last lap passes to decide it. 17 drivers ready to go with attitude, aggression. They just want to race and win. And the opinions clash sometimes upstairs in the booth, but that's what makes it fun with Jeff Gordon, Darrell Waltrip, and Mike Joy. Guys?
Well, it's always fun, and it's always wild, the Clash at Daytona. Since 1979, nobody remembers who finished second. Darrell did once, and Jeff did twice.
I don't
but nobody
remember
remembers who finished second. We've talked the format and the way this race is going to play out to death. Let's each take and give the fans one driver to watch.
Well, I like Eric Jones in the 20 car. I just think he's a rookie. I know he hadn't been in this race before, but I think that 20 car is really fast. I think he's really learned a lot last year. I think Eric Jones is a man to keep an eye on today.
Well, my eyes are going to be this big watching every car out there because what I saw yesterday in practice looked pretty wild. But if I had to pick one, it's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. What he did last year in the restrictor plate races impressed me a lot. That Ford is very fast, and I think he's going to be one to beat.
Well, Brad Keselowski has only one way to go.
He's starting last, you know.
Yeah.
Forward.
Oh.
Yes, and that's my point. He's only got one way to go, and that's forward, and he says he will be a contender for the Clash, starting tail end Charlie today. And the drivers, as they were introduced to the fans here at Daytona. Are you ready for the Clash? Oh, boy.
Check what? Check. Oh, Denny. You want to talk to him?
111.
Yeah, I'll crank him up.
Yeah.
Thursday.
I'll crank him up and see how he's doing.
We hear them.
Yeah. Hey, Denny Hamlin, DW, you got me, buddy?
10-4.
All right. We'll come to you here in just a little wee bit.
Be ready to roll here.
Yes, Barry. Okay. I know. What are you going to do, right?
Hey,
Yeah.
you ought to be on the other end.
Hey, the Clash at Daytona.
Have a great day, guys. Let's have us a good one today, fellas.
Drivers, start your engines!
All rolling, all rolling.
This is incredible racing.
It is all about winning.
It's wild. It's crazy.
Holy smoly.
There's not a driver in the field that doesn't want to go home from Daytona and say they won something.
Clear, in and out.
You have got to go and go hard.
And here they come to the line.
Wow, man.
Your 3-month wait is over. Here it is, the Clash at Daytona on FS1, presented by Chevrolet. And here's your starting lineup. Starting spots were drawn by the crew chiefs. That put Austin Dillon's Chevy and Denny Hamlin's Toyota on the front row. Joey Logano's Ford, Eric Jones, the Rookie of the Year, in a Toyota. Jimmy Johnson Chevrolet with defending series champ Martin Truex in a Toyota. Casey Kane, 5th different team he's driven for in the Clash. He's in a Chevy. Ricky Stenhouse, a restrictor plate racing specialist, in a Ford. Kevin Harvick, 3-time winner of the Clash, and Kyle Larson, who won 4 races last year. Row 6 will be Ryan Newman, whose team has a bunch of wins in the Clash, and Chase Elliott, whose dad won the Clash in 1987 in car number 9. Kyle Busch, the 2012 Clash winner. His older brother Kurt won it the previous year. Ryan Blaney making his Clash debut, and Jamie McMurray, 2-time runner-up in this race. And as I mentioned, Brad Keselowski has tweeted he will win from last starting spot.
Oh, so that's where you got that information.
Well,
what do you say we talk to Denny Hamlin on the front row here? Hey, Denny Hamlin, DW, you got me, buddy? Hey, Denny, DW, you got me, man?
10-4, I've got you.
This ought to be a piece of cake. You got a fast car. You start on the front row. You love this race. What are you worried about most when we drop the green flag here on this first race of the year?
You know, probably the rule changes. I think that, you know, all of us had gotten so equipped to the previous package that it handled a certain way that we really didn't need to practice in a pack that much. But after the few laps that I ran in the draft,
on the 18 is not working. It's not powered up.
You know, probably some of this field, you know, has a lot less experience with that, and it's going to cause some very tight quarters at times, I would say.
Yeah, 10-4. In the practice you had yesterday, Did the cars do things that you didn't expect it to do? Were you surprised with the way the car handled?
Yeah, certainly I thought that, there would be just an overall more grip, but with the backs of these cars so much lower, it changes the balance of them quite a bit. So in a pack, especially 3 wide, the cars definitely moved around a lot more than what I was used to. So it's a little bit hotter today as well, so I think this race definitely could come down to handling.
All right, my friend, you've sort of become the restrictor plate master, so we'll be watching. Good luck to you.
All right, thanks. Good luck on your 2018 season, guys.
Thanks, Denny Hamlin, 3-time winner of the Clash. They're going to use every other pit stall down pit road. Total of 17 of them. Let's go there now, beginning with Jamie Little.
Well, Joey Logano's coming off his worst season since joining Penske. He finished 17th. Well, he and the team, they're ready to hit the reset button starting today. They're ready to get back to winning and having fun. The car they brought today for the Clash, they said it drove okay. The speed was pretty good. He hopes to make it 2 in a row. Matt Yoakum?
Jamie, nothing beats real action when it comes to learning, whether here on pit road or out on the racetrack. Now for Kyle Larson, it's a combo platter. New Chevrolet Camaro and also new rules. He spent limited time in practice drafting, just single file. Now he's going to have cars all around. And for his over-the-wall guys, they spent weeks practicing different plays dealing with one less man. Vince Welsh, this event will certainly be impactful.
Former Clash winner Kyle Busch rolls off 13th today. No concerns about rolling off deep in the field, 13th of 17, unless, of course, something would happen right in front of you. But this 18 team believes that the Clash is the best practice opportunity for next week's Daytona 500 because the conditions today are going to be most similar to what they face next week. So today, learn your strengths and weaknesses. And oh yeah, win, because that's always the expectation when your driver is Kyle Busch. Larry McReynolds.
Vince, one thing that will be different, it is a short race. Let's take a look at this race analysis. We're going to run 25 laps, then we're going to throw a caution, and then we're going to go for 50 laps. Pit road speed, 55 miles per hour. The fuel window, 46 to 48 laps. What makes that number significant, remember, the last stage is 50 laps. I think we're going to see green flag stops as we come to that caution. Now let's take a look at the weather. We apologize to the rest of the country for the weather we're having here. You see it right there. It is absolutely gorgeous in the low 80s. Track temp over 110 degrees. Little bit of breeze, and it's going to be sunny all afternoon, Mike.
Thanks, Larry. He's got the big sunshine on his lapel. As we get ready to race in Daytona, the Toyota Camry XSE 2018 version leads the field around. Lights are out. We'll be looking for green next time by. We listened in on Martin Truex and Cole Perrin.
Fight to the black and white, bud. Work on our deal all day long. Try to be aggressive at the end. Guys, have some fun. It's kind of ways knocked off here. Appreciate all the hard work in the off season. Let's have some fun today. Get ready for next week.
17 cars at the ready. There are 3 other drivers who qualified for this event. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is retired, Matt Kenseth, who at the end of the season lost his ride with Joe Gibbs Racing, and Danica Patrick, who is here for the 500, but her deal came together so late they were unable to get a car prepared to run in the Clash in time. So 17 of those 20 drivers are at the ready. Austin Dillon, Denny Hamlin on the front row, Brad Keselowski out back. Who will lead lap 1?
I'm not sure who's more curious about this race, those drivers in the car are those that are in the Daytona 500 that aren't in this race, to see what these cars are going to drive like.
A lot of them up on the roof watching with the spotters. A lot of those drivers. There's Bubba Wallace is up there, and many more. Green flag, and we are racing at Daytona in the Clash.
Pretty equally balanced field. Toyota, Chevys, and Fords. A little heavy balance on the Chevy side, but otherwise pretty equal.
But what we heard from Denny Hamlin is the balance of the handling of these cars. Heard a lot of drivers talking about being real loose getting into the corner, real tight in the center as they get off the exit of the corner. So look for that handling to be a real key to this race.
Boy, there was already sparks flying out from these things. Of course, they're over low air pressure. The pressures will come up and that'll probably go away. But these cars are low riding. I've never seen the back of these cars so low to the racetrack.
But look at this. No one can gain advantage.
We got somebody working the middle lane a little bit further back, trying to make something happen in the center. Oh, Larson goes to the outside and actually made a gain there.
Casey Kane back it up.
Yeah.
Lap 1. Who will lead it? Dillon. Austin Dillon. leads it by less than 1/100th of a second over Denny Hamlin.
Denny's getting a big push from his teammate Erik Jones behind him. That's going to get him out to the lead. Sparks flying already.
I tell you, I just think Hamlin, he is so good on his restrictor plate races. That car is really, really fast. I tell you, they got their hands full dealing with him today, I think.
Yeah, especially once he gets control, DW, of this pack behind him. They get side by side. He's got to work each lane to maintain that lead, and he's very good at it.
Riding with Austin Dillon from the back, that white car, Brad Keselowski, up 3 spots already. And Kyle Busch is going to hang out in the back.
And you saw right there the 22 of Joey Logano step out and block that move from the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. That's what you have to do. You have to watch your mirror as much as you're watching it, looking out the windshield.
Little wiggle from Ryan Blaney as they went off into the corner.
Yeah, Blaney's car yesterday was doing that very same thing. Talked to him last night. He said, look, I got my hands full. And he said, I hope we can get her tightened up a little bit.
He's the new driver for Roger Penske, and that number 12. Team Penske now a 3-car Cup team.
Just look at the back of these cars, folks. Look how low those bumpers are. I mean, they are almost touching the track. That's how low the back of these cars are. That's where all this added speed's coming from. Getting that rear spoiler down out of the air makes them fast.
Look at that speed over there on your left. 192, 193. Look at it gain speed down the straightaways in this draft.
Toyota's lead, Hamlin, Jones, Truex, the front 3, then Stenhouse in a Ford. 196 into the corner.
Now, once they get strung out here, or single file, if that ever happens in this race, I don't know if we'll see that. You'll definitely see those speeds reach 200 plus miles per hour.
Casey Kane in danger of losing the draft.
Toyota's doing a great job up front, top 3 working together.
Yeah, I think that's when you get teammates working together like those 3 cars are in the front, boy, it's hard to get by all 3 of them.
Now, these are not the same cars you saw an hour ago qualifying for the Daytona 500. They're entered by the same teams, but they are different automobiles than what are being used here in the class.
Really aggressive move by Kyle Busch going to the outside, making it 3 wide on his brother Kurt Busch coming through that tri-oval.
Yeah, Mike, most of the time the crews will tell you, the crew chief will tell you, we don't need this car.
Bottom of 3.
Get the trophy or bring back the steering wheel. We don't care.
Bottom of 3.
Yeah, they were 3 wide. Kyle Busch went to the outside, went past them all. Now he gets past Austin Dillon, has drifted back.
Yeah, Austin Dillon really lost some momentum, but Kyle Busch has the momentum, goes to the outside of Chase Elliott. Is going to make that spot up. This is where it gets really difficult. If you get 3, 4, 5 cars lining up and running that outside lane, makes it really difficult to get a group to work together to try to get up there and take the lead.
Yeah, you don't really know what you've got, Mike. It takes about 10 to 15 laps. Pressures come up. Handling changes a little wee bit. That's when you find out who's got a good race car.
Kyle Busch has one. He's up to 6th, Vince.
You've seen him get that run, and crew chief Adam Stevens was telling me they feel like with this car and this package that they are a little more secure in getting that run up through the pack. We've seen Kyle drop to the back of the pack at the start and now start to move his way up. We've seen him with some good momentum. It'll be interesting to keep our eye on, see if Kyle and others continue to get that strong run up through the pack.
See those cars moving around off of 4.
42 was fishtailing off turn 4 right then.
Now, earlier today in Daytona 500 qualifying, down against the yellow line is where you want to be. The short way is the fast way around. When did the top groove become the preferred?
Oh, 42.
You're all right. Hold on to it. Hold on to it.
Oh.
There was something wrong with that car that came off turn 4, it looked like.
I don't know if he just got loose getting into the corner and went down there, or when he tried to go low, then it broke loose.
I can't tell, but it was
Great
definitely
save.
loose off turn 4 that last time by.
Might have been some contact. He's in 8th, drops to 9th now as Joey Logano goes by. Here comes Keselowski. Watch the 42 coming to the start-finish line 1 lap ago. It's on the right of your screen.
Heard a lot of drivers talking about being loose through the tri-oval.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, he looked like he had a run, and he tried to step out. And when he did, the back end just really came around.
I tell you, but he saved that car.
Oh,
that takes an incredible amount of talent to be able to save that car at 200 miles an hour, 195 miles an hour. That was amazing.
That's an unbelievable save.
The guy's got some skill.
He's got some dirt track experience. That paid off right there.
And I tell you, if his left rear tire was low, but I can't see it.
But it's interesting because ever since, I don't know if he hurt the splitter or what's happened, but he's definitely fallen to the back and lost some speed. Matt, you have something on the 42?
Derek Nealon, his spotter, asked him, are you okay? Is there any issues with the car? He says, no, I just got really, really loose. He hung on to it, though.
8 laps complete.
And he did exactly what I do. If I'd have been in that car, I'm going to get in the back and feel this thing out a little bit before I go charging up through there again.
Now, really interesting here is Denny Hamlin starts to run the low line. You know, he was working that high line, and now all of a sudden they're back down on the bottom. I don't know if that means they're thinking about.
Whoa. Kyle Busch went to the top. Stenhouse looked in his mirror, went up and blocked. And on the bottom, here comes that green car of Chase Elliott.
Here comes Elliott, the 9 car, and I tell you, he's a guy that could really give Hamlin a run for his money. I believe that 9 car can.
Really fast here last year on the restrictor plate tracks.
Hamlin comes down to cover the spot.
Well, I just love how that inside line just started forming very quickly, and as soon as they did that, and you see Brad Keselowski's back there, he has his teammates around him, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney. As soon as they worked together, immediately Chase Elliott started coming to the front. He's going to go for the lead here.
Yeah, Chase Elliott went from 6th to 2nd in 1 lap, and now he goes for the lead in the backstretch. Takes it.
Whoa, what a power move.
Yikes.
So inside draft, very good job. Double wide behind you here.
Good job, spotter, because there was no room.
That is Eddie DeHaan, Chase's spotter, former modified racer.
By 2.5 now.
Boy, I just wonder, you heard some of these drivers talking about handling and the balance. I wonder, did Hamlin get tight right there and have to lift? Usually you don't see that move be able to be made that easy.
I just think that 9 is a lot faster through the turn than 11 was. It was able to jump up in front of him.
Chase Elliott, the new leader after 10 laps. Kyle Larson with a great save right there. It's the Clash.
Good. Five laps, it gets real crazy.
"13 laps complete. Bump drafting was invented for the trailing car to use that big hole in the wind to push both cars closer to the front. That's what Brad Keselowski was doing there to Austin Dillon. Now there's about a foot between them. Chase Elliott, the leader, on the outside. Here comes Dillon to the front.
Seeing some big runs being manufactured by the draft that I have not seen in a long time here at Daytona.
I think it's because of the attitude of the car, Jeff. The back of the car is so low, you can just generate a ton of speed when you get a little bit of drafting help.
Remember, caution coming at lap 25 of this 75-lap race.
What makes these cars slow on the super speed Daytona and Talladega is how high the rear spoiler sticks up in the air. This year, that spoiler is down considerably. I know they added a half-inch to it, but the back of the car is so low, you're generating a ton of straightaway speed.
Wow, look at Kurt Busch make a wild move to the outside of Martin Truex Jr. But you're right, DJ, and Kyle Busch coming right along with him. I've heard some teams talk about that spoiler's down almost 2 inches further because of the new ride height rules this year versus last year.
And that is nothing but sheer horse. I like adding horsepower. It's just speed.
Well, this race will make some new stars. What, 5 drivers won this in their first attempt? Neither Austin Dillon nor Chase Elliott had led the Clash before today. Now they both have. Ride with Brad Keselowski.
Close to 200 miles per hour going into turn 3.
Three wide at 9th place.
Well, he was side by side with Chase Elliott too, so that was actually holding back some of that speed. Jimmy Johnson here in the middle between Stenhouse Jr. and Kyle Busch.
Pretty impressed with that 3 car. Dillon out there leading this crowd, kind of controlling it as he kind of works both sides in and out. Nice job on his part.
Now, I'm pretty impressed seeing some of these guys. Oh, big move here between these young guys up front. Chase Elliott wants to take that lead back. But that's what I'm talking about, some big bursts of speed coming from the draft that's allowing somebody like Chase Elliott to get a big run and make that pass just like we saw Austin Dillon do.
That's the way to use your push right there. Roll that momentum. 2 back. He's holding off 2 lanes.
And a good point that Eddie DeHunt, his spotter for Chase Elliott, is bringing up. It's all about manufacturing that push from behind to get that big run, and he did a good job backing up to the car behind him and using that bubble to just push him and lunge him forward.
Jamie?
What's more impressive about Austin Dillon, what this team is doing, their crew chief, Justin Alexander, he's not here. Hasn't been all weekend long. He was diagnosed with a severe case of the flu, didn't want to infect the rest of the team. So his race engineer, Seth Schofkrud, right there at the end, is the crew chief. And also 2 down from him, Andy Petrie. He was Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got the glasses on looking toward us now. He was the crew chief for the late, great Dale Earnhardt. On the 3 box, once again for Andy Petrie. He told me it's pretty special to be back here as the vice president of competition for RCR.
And Jamie, I think that is a great move by Richard Childress to bring Andy over there. Andy is a smart guy. He understands racing. He is a racer.
Logano.
And, he'll really help these guys.
Logano, great move there to get to the outside quarter panel of the 3 of Austin Dillon.
And folks, yes, these cars are moving around as much as they look like they are. They are an absolute handful to hang on.
All at 200 miles per hour.
Watch this off turn 4. Kyle Busch in the yellow number 18. Way up high on the left.
Oh, you can see his hands moving inside.
He is working that thing, man.
That's what I'm seeing with the back of these cars down so much lower. The back is just unstable, moving around a lot more, even on the straightaways.
Brad Keselowski just got sandwiched, and Ricky Stenhouse almost got into him. They leave Jimmy Johnson down to the inside as Brad loses a spot there. Matt?
Johnson got shuffled out. The balance is changing for a number of drivers. Jimmy Johnson's Chevrolet, it's gotten tight. He's used a track bar adjuster inside, which is a first for the plate races. He's using that as a tuning tool, trying to get better balance.
Yeah, Mike, that's what I was saying about the cars will go through a transition. Tires get a little build up in them, burn off a little bit of fuel. Balance of the car changes. Obviously, you have your hands full right at this point.
All right, they're going to come around to complete 20 laps. If we stay green, that leaves 5 more laps until the designated caution lap, which would be after they complete lap 25. Larry, how about some strategy?
Well, right now we have 16 of our 17 drivers that started this race within a second. You can make a green flag stop here and not go a lap down. I think for track position, I won't say the entire field, but I think when you see this number right here, get to about 24 or working lap 25, I think you're going to see these guys start hitting pit road, trying to get that track position, then stay out when the actual caution comes.
Then there's the question, Larry, are they going to take 2, 4 tires? How bad's it handling?
If you want 2, what I'm seeing, you're getting 4.
You know, I would normally agree with you, but with the pit crew changes and the way the pit stops will be, they're going to be a little bit longer. You better be careful trying to pull some kind of trickery like that.
Martin Truex coming up the outside, leading a few cars. Now watch the 48 here coming up off turn number 4.
I don't think I want to.
Stuck in the middle.
Wow. Yeah, hey, listen, we have seen Jimmy Johnson spin out here. I mean, he's not actually finished this race, I think, in the last 6 years with a car that's clean. Look at Truex up against the wall. Yeah. These guys are having a serious problem handling, but also especially off of turn 4, because that's where the wind is coming across, forcing these cars to the outside wall.
Joey Logano and that yellow number 22. That Penske Ford trying to lead for the first time today. Martin Truex on his bumper. Oh boy, Chase Elliott.
You're not going to give up that lead. That's
out front.
That little 9 car looks pretty steamy right now, boys.
Now Keselowski,
engine number 9.
He seems to be able to put his car in places that nobody else can. He's very aggressive.
No, I don't know if he's put it some places that others can, but I don't know if they want to or not.
But it looks like he has a car that has good handling. I haven't seen his car move around as much as some others when he gets into those positions.
Look at this 42 car. On the apron a little while ago, caught his breath, regrouped. Now here he comes. That's youth.
Yes, it is. And talent. I just think back to that shot we showed of Jimmy Johnson. We have seen him have some serious handling issues. I think they came down here as we see a pass for the lead. Logano going to the outside of the 9 of Chase Elliott. Who's Austin Dillon going to go with?
And can Logano make it stick to the line and officially lead a lap? Elliott side drafts off him and takes the lead back.
Boy, this is slicing and dicing.
Side still on your tight, as always. Here comes your help. Watch that one of your man trying to get
that's not going to work.
That isn't a good idea.
And he's going to get passed to the outside.
Here comes Hamlin, the 11.
Up top the 11, 3 wide. Up top the 11, here he comes.
See, that's all it takes. One little bobble like that. He saw an opening. Martin Truex Jr. saw an opening. He started to go for it. That door closed. He checked up, and look at him. Look how many positions he's losing.
Let me tell you, if you try to get on pit road right now, you're going to wreck the whole field. So I don't think we're going to see that happen.
Not this lap, maybe next lap. Working lap 24. Complete now. Logano the leader.
I mean, I'm impressed with Denny Hamlin hanging in there too. You know, he had the lead, he had control. Looked like he started having some handling issues and fell back, but now he's worked his way back up to second.
So the caution flag will not fly until the field cycles through the start-finish line, completing lap 25 this lap.
Well, the field might be on pit road when they throw the caution.
You know where they're going to be? They're going to be in the grass. I'm telling you, you can't. This close together. I don't like the looks of this.
New spotter this year for Joey Logano, TJ Majors, who's worked with Dale Earnhardt Jr. the last few seasons.
Oh boy, start waving those hands.
Coming.
Here they
come.
come.
Bunch of them coming.
Some of them are.
Whoa,
and lap 25 is led by Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick, and Ricky Stenhouse. Matt?
And they have worked weeks on this, getting ready for their pit stop. Now the guys are going to use a lot of unique plays. Jamie.
Joey Logano actually said his car was a little bit loose. A lot of anticipation for these pit crews making this first stop. It's going to be much slower, warning you, a few seconds slower. Vince?
Well, the 9 car gets away. Right sides and gas only for the 9 of Chase Elliott.
Caution is out. 25 laps complete. A scheduled caution flag, and the only one of the day. Some stopped, some chose not to.
Some chose 2, some chose 4.
Yeah, the ones that took 4 sure did take a long time to get them on there. I know that.
So, Larry, the advantage to stopping now before the caution is you'll line up in front for the restart. You'll have track position.
Out of the eye of the storm, you'll be up front. So, yeah, we had best I could tell, all but about 4 drivers that hit pit road right there.
But if you stopped then, how concerned are you about having enough fuel for these final 50 laps?
It is a concern, but you know what? This is all about winning a race. That's all it's about. It's not about a good, solid points day.
Did you ever finish second in this?
I think I did.
Yeah,
I
see,
did
nobody
everything but
nobody
win it.
remembers.
You know what I love, Mike? when they say it's going to be close. I don't know. It's going to be right on the money. That's what I love to hear.
Well, and they're factoring in more than just fuel mileage. They're factoring in weather cautions, any kind of accidents might happen that bring it out to give them that fuel mileage.
Well, the pit road police are at work. One driver drove through too many pit boxes, exiting his stall. Driver 48, Jimmy Johnson.
Well, Jimmy, I don't know. I don't know.
So let's show it to you.
Let's see what he did.
One.
There's one. Two.
Two.
You can drive through two, correct? I thought you can't. Oh, it was coming in.
Coming in, not going out.
It was not going out, I can assure you that.
Yeah, the rule is you can't drive through 3 pit boxes coming in or leaving, yes.
Let's see what he does coming in, guys.
So he's...
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy call right there.
Well, and it's a little bit different because of where that stall is located. In the Daytona 500, if you're the first pit stall, you can probably do that coming in.
Pit stops, Matt.
And Kyle Larson saying he's never been this free, especially in the center of a corner on a super speedway. Now, this is where using different key players, hybrid positions, they've already made the chassis adjustment. You'll see the one carrier bring both tires back to the wall, Vince.
Well, the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. a little loose, so they're going to pull some tape to tighten it up and give him 4 tires, Jamie.
This was the original plan for the Ford team. Wait till the end of the stage to pit. It's a 4-tire stop for Kevin Harvick. He's saying this car is just too tight. They need to free it up.
Now, again, the new rule is 4 crewmen plus a fueler who can do nothing but fuel the car and kick a tire back to the wall if needed in the interest of safety.
It runs on the top, but you can't live up there. Okay, 10-4, that's good to know. Yeah, they're early. It looked like that's what it was going to be, and then it's...
While we're under caution at Daytona in the Clash, let's take a look at today's Ford Performance track facts. Only 2 drivers have won the Clash, the pole for the 500 and the Great American Race in the same year, driving Fords. Bill Elliott, 1987, Dale Jarrett in 2000. Well, if you're not in this race, better get a good seat to watch. Second from the left, Daniel Suarez. 5th from the left, there's Bubba Wallace with the blue lensed sunglasses. Checking it all out.
It's about as good of a view as you can get. That's why those spotters are located there.
You can learn a lot, watching this race. You don't want to, some things you want to forget, but you can learn a lot, particularly bottom and top. What works around the top, what works around the bottom. And then obviously the way these cars are jumping around, you just want to try to get yours where it doesn't do that.
Well, the restart order is on the left side of your screen. Ford, Chevy, 2 Fords. First Toyota is Kyle Busch in 5th place. What I love about what I've seen so far is you can draft, you can pull up, and you can pass. No stalling out when you get to the front of the line.
No, you can get big. You can create a lot of energy and make some big moves. Who's that guy that started on the pole right there?
Kurt Busch getting a good run around 22 of Joey Logano.
Restart, they're 3 wide behind him.
To your point, Mike, what I saw, nobody could control the lead. Typically, you get out front and you can go lane to lane and control it. As we see a big run and push from the 18 of Kyle Busch to the 12 of Ryan Blaney. He's going to go up there, and is he going to pass his teammate or help his teammate?
He hadn't made up his mind yet. He's working on it. He thought he was going to pass him, but I think he stalled out.
But this is why this race is so important to be a part of, because the experience that you gain in this race on how the car's handling and watching your mirrors, how to block runs, how to make runs happen, is great experience.
Now, if the 2 car, if it's as good as it has been in some of the plate races, he will be able to do what you were talking about, Jeff. He'll go side to side.
Watch Martin Truex. Got a little boxed up here in the middle in the 78.
Oh.
Whoa.
Now, you know, that's a move that he tried to make earlier that got blocked. Now he tries to do it again. Gets blocked again. Ooh. That could have been big. That could have been a big wreck.
Have a run on the outside here now.
Pretty heads up by Mark Truex Jr. to check up. Realize that. Got to be there at the end.
Well, Brad Keselowski did it. He went from last to first. The pit stop certainly helped, but now he's got his nose in the wind.
Biggest thing Joey to know is that it's hard to switch lanes in the corner, especially going up. Going down isn't so bad, but going up is very difficult.
And that would be a blocking tactic, or break the momentum of the fastest line if you had to make a quick move in a corner like that. But he's doing what I've seen him do so many times. The 2 car, get out front, and he's able to manage both lines.
Hey, no love lost between Kyle Busch and Joey Logano, and there might have been a little contact there.
Yeah, we've seen what happens when these guys make contact. Already a bit of a little rivalry between them. Might be starting off early in 2018.
Boy, look at those cars. Look at that 78 wobble and wiggle and move around. Got his hands full of that thing.
And
whoa.
That 18 tail dragging, and Martin Truex about to run over Joey Logano there. And Denny Hamlin. Hamlin, big push to Logano on the outside.
I think there's one of those objects in your mirror, or as close as they seem.
Yes, they are. 3 wide for 5th and back about 12th. Wow.
Now see that materialized. Denny Hamlin gave a big push to Joey Logano, went up to Eric Jones, gave him a big shove. Shuffled Chase Elliott right out. He's going to go to the bottom and maybe lose. Well, he's going to gain some back here.
It's kind of unpredictable, Jeff, what the cars will do, because they get such big runs now. They got this big burst of speed.
Well, just like that with Chase Elliott, he lost a bunch of positions, but was able to get the outside lane and just was able to come back much quicker than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, the cars just aren't stalling out. They get a run, you can take advantage of it.
In the early years of the Clash, this was a 20-lap sprint race. Today's race has all the hallmarks of those first couple of clashes. Every lap is being run like it's the last lap.
That was a huge, I mean, he was completely stalled out getting past. Now he gets a big run on the 9 of Chase Elliott, takes him almost to the lead.
But there again, you see Chase doesn't have, he had to,
Jamie McMurray.
Trouble.
In the wall. Caution.
Up front damage.
That Chip Ganassi Chevrolet took a light hit into the wall and a pretty hard hit.
I think I hit pretty good.
Yep. He was running 14.
Gonna have to get the right front off the ground. Right front off the ground.
All right, let's have a look at what happened and keep an eye on the 41, Kurt Busch, coming into the corner here behind McMurray.
Pretty big run. pretty far back. Looks like he's going to try to maybe squeeze to the inside. Yeah, just barely clips that left rear quarter. That's all it takes, really, to get the car turning around. Hard to say if Kurt Busch's car got a little bit tight as he got there and it just would pull down and get all the way underneath Jamie McMurray, or...
I almost think the air. I mean, I'm looking at the left rear corner of that one car right there. I don't see any wheel mark or anything. It's almost like the air pushed him around, like he was a little loose, and it just turned him.
Yeah, if they touched, it was barely.
Riding with Kevin Harvick.
Come here again, clear low if you need it. Whatever you need here, watch him. Watch it one, watch it one. Keep coming.
And we'll hear what Kurt Busch had to say.
You know, your job as a driver is to get momentum and take that momentum and make those passes happen. Don't let up if you don't have to, and that's what Kurt Busch was trying to do.
Check your cameras if you can here. You got a little sidewall rubbage on the right front. I didn't see any fender damage. I'll check again. Yeah, we're going to have a little right front damage. Want to change lanes.
Matt?
Larson is in. Huge chassis adjustment in the rear. They're looking at a 4-tire change here. More adjustments again on the left side. His car is just so wicked free. Also, a Packer in the front here on the 42, Jamie.
Kevin Harvick said he feels like they're making good headway. Just came in to take 4 tires there, but the car overall pretty good.
Jamie McMurray has made repairs. He will continue. First caution flag of the day for contact. Jamie McMurray loose, down to the apron, up to the wall.
Not sure what to think about that. Drink a lot, thank you.
Jamie McMurray's car came off the wall and into this. Tore up a good bit of the infield. Of course, you can come to pit road and make repairs. There is a damaged vehicle policy, but no caution clock. So first, McMurray tried scooting up from the apron to the banking, trying to push that front splitter back up into position. And then the crew decided they'd put a big piece of metal, drop the jack on it to make further repair.
I don't know about this.
Calamity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That's okay. They're going to get back out there for the restart. We're going to add one lap before we go back to caution.
I thought that was very kind of him to lend a helping hand before he got on pit road.
Well, you know what he was doing? He would go up the track and knock it, then he'd go down the track and knock it down. Up, down, up, down.
Now, what the two lead cars have in common, Brad Keselowski and Chase Elliott, they both took only 2 tires on their pit stop, as did Ryan Blaney. Everybody else took 4. Saturday on Fox, top 10 doubleheader. 4th-ranked Michigan State plays Northwestern. And then the game of the year in the Big East. Number 1 Villanova gets number 5 Xavier. It all begins at 2 Eastern on Fox, or you can stream it live on Fox Sports Go.
Yeah, my Cats got beat again last night. Not good.
38 laps to go. Larry, if you had a concern about fuel, what do these caution laps do for you?
Yeah, Mike, we did not go back racing under that first caution until lap 29, which is 46 to go. And now here we've run another 4 or 5 cautions. So even for those 10 drivers that stayed out here, I think you're in good shape to make it to the end, at least on fuel. I'm anxious to see, though, you mentioned that those 3 drivers that went with just right side tires, I really think that's going to become a player later on in this race.
Well, yeah, Larry, I think they took 2 tires the last stop also, so those lefts are pretty old.
Well, let's get a little insight from pit road on some of the new procedures with 4 crewmen and a fueler allowed over the wall. Jamie.
Well, Denny Hamlin's fueler, Caleb Hurd, standing by with me now. You guys have had 1 stop. There's been a lot of talk about this new choreography. What was your impression of that first slowed down pit stop?
Very awkward. You know, even as a fueler where I can't do anything anymore, that was 1 can. Usually I'd help out. There's also the fact that the cars are lower here at Daytona, so that's another thing we have to battle. We haven't really practiced as much, so it was just a little clusterish. Our biggest thing is just not making mistakes with this new deal, and I'm sure it'll get faster as we go, but right now our internal clocks are just way off, and you just do the best you can with it.
Mike?
Well, you know, last year, guys, it was not unusual for me to talk about a pit stop that was in 11 seconds or 12 seconds. Under that caution, or when everybody pitted coming to lap 25, the fastest stop we got was Kurt Busch's 41 crew at 16.95. I said it in the pre-race. This is the test. You can practice till your shoulders fall off. This is the test.
Well, I think that thing, Larry, that the fueler just mentioned, how much lower the back of the car is. For the fueler, it means he's got to lower that thing down.
Green flag. We're back underway. And we're midway in this year's running of the Clash with Elliott Chevrolet, Keselowski's Ford, and 3 Toyotas in the front 5.
Yeah, I'd like to tell you that having teammates up there is an advantage or a benefit, but in this race it really isn't.
Well, I thought
it's every man for himself.
I thought that restart was interesting because Denny Hamlin gave Chase Elliott a nice shove. He had the lead, but whatever happened in that outside lane, you know, really materialized a good push to Brad Keselowski to get him that lead back.
Until Keselowski gets out front, he is hard to get by.
His car looks good. I mean, right now, he and Chase Elliott seem to me to be the best cars.
I think Joey Meyer, the spotter on that 2 car, I think he really is a big advantage for Brad as well. He flies the airplane for Brad. He just understands where Brad needs to be and really helps him put his car in the right spot.
I think something's going to get interesting here is those that took 4 tires a little bit further back, they can be a little bit more aggressive against those that only took 2. Those cars with 2 tires are not going to be handling as well as those with 4. Ooh, yeah, Blaney moves up to block Truex.
I wouldn't have done that. Not more than once.
That's why you're up here.
That's right.
Why you're down there.
Exactly.
I tell you, and Jeff knows it, it's a totally different perspective when you're driving with tunnel vision it is when you're up here watching like we are.
Vince?
Well, both Brad Keselowski and his teammate Ryan Blaney right behind him, both on right side tires only. And DW, to your point, and you talked about the spotter for Brad Keselowski, Joey Meyer, it's almost non-stop all the way around the track. Not just when Keselowski is in traffic with someone beside him, but also letting him know how close that car behind him is getting. Who's getting the run? It's almost non-stop communication between spotter and driver, no matter where you are in the pack here at Daytona.
And see, I would worry a lot of drivers. They'd say, you need to not talk so much, leave me alone. But when you're a pilot and when you're used to riding and hearing that on the radio all the time, I think it's a big advantage.
Now here we go. Truex coming on the inside. Keselowski down to cover. And Martin Truex comes to second. He's going to bring Kyle Busch with him.
Yeah, Ford versus Toyota. Truex got a great run off of turn 4. Had Kyle Busch behind him, fellow Toyota teammate, and he went with him to get Truex to that second position.
Well, it's right now it's Toyotas and Fords up front.
Well, the Ford's ganging up on Kyle Busch there. The 12 is Blaney, the 22 Logano, the 17 Stenhouse, and the 4 of Harvick.
You have to, folks, you have to realize how quickly these guys have to make a decision. Where are they going to go? They're traveling at 200 miles an hour, and you've got to make a quick decision about, do I go high, do I go low, do I try to pass, do I fall in line? So much.
Leader, Truex, with no help.
NFL.
And that does it, not for long?
Not for long.
Don't let him put you in the middle. Don't let him put you in the middle of the bottom. Right here, you can see your bumper.
Oh, Stenhouse.
That yellow line.
Yeah.
So right there, the 18 of Kyle Busch tried to help out Martin Truex Jr., but that gave the momentum, the 17 to Stenhouse Jr., but did he go underneath that yellow line to make that pass?
And the rule is you cannot advance your position below the yellow line.
Unless Kyle Busch forced him down there.
Let's see if he forced him down there or not, because that's a different situation.
He's above it. He's above it. Yeah, it looks like Kyle Busch just pushed the issue and shoved him down there.
Ran him out of room.
Now it's up to NASCAR to decide. I thought it was a pretty clean, good move on Stenhouse.
I think it was too.
I don't know. I don't know if he forced him enough though from that angle.
I would be arguing I could have hit him.
Well.
32 laps to go after starting last. Brad Keselowski is first, and they are going to make the 17 of Stenhouse take a penalty stop.
Not forever.
.28 laps to go in the Clash. Ricky Stenhouse has done his pass-through penalty, coming down pit road at pit road speed. So he's now more than half a lap behind the leaders. And Jamie McMurray has gone to the garage with his number 1.
Now, from this angle, to me, it looks like Kyle Busch pushed him below, but he was not as far up beside him at that point. As you look in this angle, to me, at this stage, you've got to keep your left sides above that yellow line. Even if that driver starts to come down, unless you're wheel to wheel, I think that you absolutely have to stop the yellow line and let them keep coming, whether it spins them or whatever it happens to them.
Well, he was going to keep coming.
I think NASCAR made the right call there.
Also, nice recovery by Casey Kane in 7th place. Early in the race, Kane's spotter told him he saw a tire rub, so they had him drop back and out of the draft. He's back up in the pack, as is Jimmy Johnson in 4th place.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with Jimmy Johnson. We saw him about lose it. He's had some handling issues here in the past, and this has not been his favorite race, but he's looking really strong right now up in that 4th position.
You know, you talked about Casey Kane, qualified well earlier today and running really well right now. So good job by that 95 crowd to get him up there in contention.
7th place, right in the eye of the storm here. 16 cars still on the lead lap, 15 in the lead draft, where Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott have gone to the back.
What about the first 3 cars, our teammates, all 3 Penske cars out here leading this deal, and Jimmy Johnson kind of lurking?
I'm just amazed how quickly things can change. I mean, we saw Austin Dillon up front. We saw Chase Elliott up front. Denny Hamlin. Now those guys are all at the back.
But here comes Hamlin with Martin Truex down on the inside. We listened in on the 78.
So far, everybody's still straight lining it. Got enough right here. These people behind us will go with us. Let me get with Jason.
Yeah, that's all. It just takes somebody to go with you. If you can get enough people to work with you, you can get yourself. Denny Hamlin, he doesn't like standing in line or riding in line there at the back. He wants to go, but he knows he can't do it by himself.
If you average the running position every lap of the race, the driver with the best average started last, running first, Keselowski.
Yep.
Vince, why is Chase Elliott hanging out back?
Well, he pulled out of line to try to make a move, but as he said, I had to give it a shot, but he just gets tighter on landing in the corners, and that's really what's keeping him from getting where he wants to be right now in that 9 machine. We saw Chase Elliott running up toward the front much of the early part of the race. Now he's deeper in the field, currently running 14th, and we've heard several drivers talk about how loose they get when the car behind them is right on their back bumper as they enter. It's really upsetting the cars, and especially at this stage, there's a lot of imbalance in those cars as they go into the corner when somebody behind them is right on their bumper.
And Vince, this is what I was fearful of. He was one of the 3 drivers that hit pit road at lap 25 and did just right. Now, on the contrary, Keselowski and Blaney, the 2 and the 12 leading, they're the other 2 drivers that went with just 2.
Coming off turn 4 for 23 laps to go in the Clash at Daytona. 20 laps to go in Daytona in the season opening clash. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Those who live up to their names make one for themselves. Goodyear, more driven.
Well, that move by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. taking that penalty is really going to be costly here as the field comes up to put him a lap down.
It's a helpless feeling when you're out there by yourself. Your car is so slow. Then the pack comes by, you hook onto them, and it's like you put a turbocharger on it.
A drive-through penalty at pit road speed for passing below the yellow line.
Best thing he can do right now, Mike, is hook onto the tail end of this line, hang in there. Maybe there's a caution. I think, is he the only car a lap down? So he should be able to get the free pass if we had a caution.
Jamie McMurray is in the garage. 14 cars in the lead draft. Ryan Newman has lost the draft, 7 seconds back. Here they come to the stripe, and it'll be 18 to go.
I think if you're Roger Penske, you got to be standing over there right now feeling pretty good about bringing Blaney in-house. I think he's going to make those guys a great teammate. You got to feel good about Logano. Had a struggle at the end of last year. Here he is running third. And of course, Brad is just Brad. He's going to be out front on these restrictor plate races. So right now the 3 Fords of Penske are looking pretty good. But Jimmy Johnson's lurking now. I wouldn't count him out.
There's Jimmy, trailed by Kurt Busch in a Ford. And Kyle Larson and Casey Kane in Chevrolets.
Yeah, Kyle Larson unfortunately can't give these guys a whole lot of help. He's holding on tight.
I think you're right.
He came off of turn 4 during our break and was completely sideways. Again, a great save.
Nice job by Casey Kane, who lost the lead draft earlier because of a suspected tire rub, and then after the pit stop, he has been a contender.
Yep.
Behind him, Kyle Busch in 8th place. He's the leading Toyota in the race right now.
They all checked up. I was waiting for like a checkup, you know, where we could go. Yeah, no, it's all good. That's what I told them what we were doing. That's what we were waiting on. So we all went. It just, like I said, it just not enough to keep it going. It just stalled out, and then once you're stalled out, you got to get back up.
I see a little plan developing back there because behind Kyle Busch is another Toyota Hamlin, another Toyota Truex Jr., and another Toyota Erik Jones. I think they're just waiting for a few laps to wind down. I think they have a plan.
Vince?
And as far as Kyle Busch is concerned, you heard that feedback from him, but he also said that as longer they go in the run, the looser the car gets in and the tighter it is off. So looser in and tighter off, especially on that upper line as you see him running right now. So that's keeping them from making some of the moves potentially that they might want to because the handle just isn't there right now.
And what happens, Mike, is if you have to squeeze out of the throttle at all, either getting in or getting off, you just lose so much momentum.
Big question in my mind is the 2 lead cars took only 2 tires. What are those left sides going to be like about 12 laps from now? 12 laps to go in the Clash at Daytona. 14 cars in the lead draft. Ryan Newman half a lap back. Ricky Stenhouse a lap down. 3 Penske Fords at the front. Chevrolet 4th, Ford 5th. The first Toyota is Kyle Busch in 7th. Who do you like? 12 to go. 11 now.
Well, you're having a big day. You chose the pole and you want $3 off of us. Your guy's leading the race, but I like Blaney. I'm going to stick with him.
Well, I like Logano. I think he's in a great position where if that line starts to form behind him, he's the first one that can drop down in front of him and get the big push and momentum to go to the front.
It's going to be hard to deal with that trio of Fords up front, guys, but I think the Toyotas, we've seen them work so well together in the past. I think Kyle Busch wins this race with a big push from Denny Hamlin and his teammates. He'll get there.
You know, I don't think anybody wants to win a race more than Jimmy Johnson wants to win one. He has crashed out of the last 6 clashes. Keep an eye on that 48 car.
Fellas, if you ask for a cup of confidence, Brad K's cup is overflowing.
You know what I've heard more down here this week, last couple of days, than I think I've ever heard before? We just want to have fun. I've heard more drivers and crew members say we just want to have fun this year. We want to enjoy ourselves.
Well, leading is
and
fun.
I haven't heard that in a while from some of these guys.
Way to go out on a limb there, Mike.
Well, he took the two.
He started last.
He started dead last.
I'll be honest. Last year, he made the move to win this race. Got blocked by Denny Hamlin. They made contact, and that took both of them out of it. Joey Logano won. This might be sweet redemption for Brad Keselowski.
I told Mike he who is last will be first, and I think it's going to come true.
Kevin Harvick has now lost the draft. He's dropped 4.5 seconds back.
Now, just for folks to know at home, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, they can easily make a move. They got plenty of momentum to be able to drop to the bottom and make a move. They just don't want to make it too early. It's all about making it at the right time where that push comes and they can clear the leader of Brad Keselowski, or if maybe it's Ryan Blaney.
Listen, here's what you got to worry about. So if you're Blaney or if you're Logano, if you have to go up there and do something to your teammate Brad Keselowski, he blocks you. Here comes the other guys around the outside of you, and you're all setting ducks. So they really got to think this thing out here at the end of this race.
Wow, business has picked up 201 miles an hour into turn 3. And they cross the stripe. Will be 8 laps to go. If those Toyotas gang up on the 3 Penske Fords, though, they're going to have to pass them all, not just one.
Yeah, I mean, not only do they have to get formed up to make that move, but then they've got to hope that one doesn't drop down in front of them to block that momentum they get. I think the Toyotas, it's going to be tough for the Toyotas to get all the way to the front, but I've seen a lot of things happen within the last couple of laps in this race.
Well, I tell you, it's going to be what, 7 laps to go this next time by. Somebody better start figuring out what they're going to do.
I think inside 5 to go. Inside 5 to go, I think, is when they start getting aggressive with making some moves.
What's Austin Dillon in the 3 got on his mind?
95 says he has to have somebody out the front. He says he can't lead the pack. Let the 9 go. I'll follow him. Him 4.
All right, Dillon wants to go with the 9, 2 Chevrolets, and
huge.
Oh boy, what's that on the nose?
Piece of trash on the 2 car, Brad Keselowski.
You know what I say? Oh boy, I'd be tickled to death if I had trash on my nose right now.
Now he might be okay.
That's okay. There's the opening right in there. He's okay, and besides that, it'll make me faster.
Yeah. Well, he's leading, so he's okay.
That's a plus.
With 7 to go, 7 to go, let it eat.
Let it
eat. Peg the gauges.
Big piece of debris on the nose here.
Yes, sir. 10-4. Paul said it's not covering much opening.
Just enough. It's perfect.
Be like putting a little extra piece of tape
on the
nose.
It's like he came in and taped it up.
Hey, when it's your day, it's your day.
Mostly over the right headlight.
You know, I'm definitely going to be concerned about that. I know I said let it eat it kind of jokingly, but there's no question, because remember, on these speedway cars, they only allow you so much opening, and that's got about 1/3 of the right side blocked up. But what I'm going to have him keep an eye on is the water pressure, because they run a very, very low pressure relief valve here. If it gets over 35 PSI, it's going to kick that water out. That's what you got to watch, is the water pressure gauge.
Vince?
Well, and certainly the driver, Brad Keselowski, always concerned about it anytime you get some debris on the front end, but the team has assured him that it's barely covering any of the opening at all, and it is not a problem for him to go the rest of the way. No issues for the 2.
Matt?
Vince Martin Truex Jr. getting antsy in the 78. He wants to pull down and have some folks go with him, but right now his other concern, he has debris on the grill. He has told the team that the temperature is climbing. He's keeping aware of just where that is, so in case he has to pull out and try to get that off.
He's in 11th place, just ahead of Denny Hamlin. 2 Toyotas.
It's just, you know, no matter
Jones.
Mike, no matter what right now. I mean, we got 5 laps to go, coming to 4 to go. You're not going to hurt that engine over the next few laps. And that paper, that debris on the grill of the 2, that's a plus.
Well, even if you do hurt it, you're not going to make, it's not going to change your decision making at all. You're wide open to get to the finish and try to win this race.
Jimmy Johnson behind the 3 Penske Fords. He's the lone Chevrolet in that group. Has no friends, has Kurt Busch in a Ford behind him, then Kyle Larson in a Chevy, then Kyle Busch in a Toyota, then 3 Chevrolets. But Johnson poked his nose out last time coming off turn number 4 as if he was looking for somebody to go with him.
Well, what he may have been doing was checking to see what Kurt Busch was going to do behind him. Say, okay, I'm going to sneak out here and see if Kurt is wanting to go with me to make this move.
Remember what I told you, Mike? I think it's Talladega. You're second-guessing a guy that's second-guessing a guy that's second-guessing a guy.
There's another peek out by Logano. I think the 22 is going to be the aggressor here inside 3 to go.
He won it last year. Keselowski had the chance, but as we mentioned, contact on the last lap with Hamlin. Does Logano play loyal soldier to his Penske Ford teammates? Or does he or Ryan Blaney go for the win?
When you're sitting behind another car like Logano and even Blaney, you feel like you've got the power to make the move. But, buddy, you better be sure when you pull out, somebody's going to help you.
Now, you saw right there, Logano got right up on the rear bumper of Ryan Blaney to give him a big shove. He wants to just push him out there and see if he can't make some move happen, and if he doesn't, maybe slows momentum down where Logano can make the move.
You know what I'm liking and what I'm seeing about Blaney, though? You notice the gap? He lets the 2 get a little gap, and then he closes. Let the gap and close. I think he's trying to figure out how far back to make a run on the 2.
2 laps to go. Well, no individual race, no race team, no organization has ever finished 1, 2, 3 in the Clash.
Now listen, Ryan Blaney knows he cannot make a move until the white flag comes out, or even on the back straightaway. It's way too early to make a move if you're in second. Every position you go further back, the more time you need to get enough of a run.
See how he's doing?
Big push.
See how he did there, though? He fell way back off a 2. Logano gave him a shove. He almost thought about jumping out. He probably will on the last lap.
1 car to the bottom, and he has help on the inside. Austin Dillon with Chase Elliott. 2 Chevrolets trying to get to the front. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go.
Here we go. Logano to the outside.
He messed up. He messed up.
Now, what's Logano going to do with this run?
Kid.
Logano's going to have to back up to Jimmy Johnson and see if he can't get a run.
You better slide in that opening right there. Quick, quick.
Now here comes a push from the 42. Watch that. Go to the 41. Push the 41. He's got to run on the 48. Jimmy Johnson.
I think.
Johnson gets turned.
Not again.
Keep digging.
Kyle Busch into Larson into Johnson. And for what? The 7th year in a row. Jimmy Johnson will crash out of the Clash.
That was so unnecessary.
Checkered flag. Brad Keselowski from last to first wins the Clash at Daytona.
He said he was going to win.
Big cup of confidence.
Well, that's a heck of a way to,
Brad, good job.
heck of a way to end the race.
Guys, great job with the car, man. This new package, you guys did awesome. Thank you.
Brad K is the 23rd different winner of the Clash. It's his first ever win in Daytona Speed Weeks. He was runner-up in 2014. This is his 6th Clash start. His wife Paige, they celebrated their anniversary this weekend. Everybody else, all torn up.
Yeah, they really start getting aggressive, doing some bump drafting to try to get some momentum on that back straightaway. Kurt Busch jumps out of line to make a move, and now you've got the 42, and I believe the 18 is behind the 42. So he comes up to Jimmy Johnson,
Bam.
gives him a little shove,
and that just
turns him.
Turned him.
And you know, the front nose on these Camaros is very pointed, and doesn't really line up great to the rear bumper, even of other Camaros. That's going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on through Speed Weeks.
That was a pretty hard shot he gave. You know, that was almost, it was harder than a bump.
Well, the aerial view should show the contact.
Great heads-up move by Kurt Busch to take that push from the 42 of Larson.
Here comes Kyle in the 18 with a big head of steam on Larson.
Oh, they're coming fast.
They all get together at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it would have mattered the way that those bumpers are shaped or not. That was a big hit to the rear bumper of Jimmy Johnson.
Really was, yeah. It takes so little.
Last year, Joey Logano the winner, as Brad Keselowski and Hamlin tangled on the last lap. This year, it's Keselowski 1, Logano 2.
Right. Okay.
They don't have a shell in that.
Okay, hang on.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2 to you.
Brad Keselowski, your 2018 Clash winner, the first race of the NASCAR season and the burnouts at Daytona International Speedway. Continuing, he tweeted out before the race, the confident driver, that he would win this race, one of the important personalities and drivers in NASCAR. We sold a big crash in the Clash. We didn't see it until the end. The last lap didn't affect the winner, but it affected people like Jimmy Johnson. For the 7th straight year in this event, he has wrecked out. Also, Kyle Busch caught up in that as well. Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers riding along with Austin Dillon.
And check out Austin. He hops to the bottom, and the lane opens up, and he's able to slide through this mess. Look how close it is, but he's able to make it. Guys behind him couldn't get through that hole.
And then Martin Truex Jr. looking on board with his Toyota Camry.
Yeah, in this position as a driver, you can't really see what's developing. Martin didn't like what he saw. He got off the gas. Looked like he had a chance to slow up, but then got loose down in the mud and crashes his number 78 car.
So we counted as many as 6. Everybody, the early indications are okay. The cars could be another story, but from worst to first, Keselowski started at the back of the pack of the 17 cars, and you pointed out at the restart, he was in the lead, led the most laps.
And he controlled the second half of this race because he had his teammates behind him, and there was no benefit for those teammates to jump out and try to pass Brad. They knew they were positioned in a way that they could get the victory if they play their cards right on the last lap. We saw Blaney make the move. It was the wrong move, and Brad Keselowski eventually got to victory lane.
Last year's winner, Joey Logano, runner-up here, standing by with our Jamie Little.
Well, last year for Joey Logano, he was the winner. This year, second. Joey, what's your takeaway? These cars look like they were a little all over the place.
I think handling definitely came into play there. A lot of cars slipping and sliding, and the moves are hard to make because they're out of control out there. I'm amazed we didn't crash more than what we did, but what a day for Team Penske, all three of us up there. Shell Penzo Ford had pretty good speed. It had decent handling as well, and we were able to make some moves there at the end, but dang it, they crashed behind me. I had a big run coming and then didn't quite get it, but let me see, Brad. But it's cool to see at least one of the Penske cars able to win. We always wish it was us, but it's cool to see all of us up there and learn a lot for the 500 and for the duels coming up. That was a big deal about today. This is probably the most important clash I've ever been a part of. So I'm glad to see our cars handle good and had speed.
See Joey next in the clash on Thursday.
Thank you, and an early happy birthday. Brad Keselowski tomorrow turns 34. Our Vince Welch is down there to celebrate early in Victory Lane.
Brad Keselowski does it at Daytona. What a way to open up Speed Weeks for Brad. Started last, finished first. How's it feel to be in Victory Lane at Daytona?
It feels really good. Thanks, Vince. Last year we started first and didn't go our way, and we were joking after the drawing. Paul Wolf, usually does the drawings, and didn't do it this year, and we got last. I said, well, look, this will be the year we win, and sure enough, here we are, Vince. It's a great way to start the season with the Miller Lite Ford, and I'm happy for everyone on my team. This is the first time I won anything in Speed Weeks. I feel like I've choked them away, so it's nice to not choke this one away, Vince, but definitely a good day, and I'm really thankful for the team. Completely different package than what we've had here at Daytona ever before, so guys really had to show up with a way different car, and that's a testament to everybody at Team Penske to work on it and do that. So good day, great start to Speed Weeks. 2 more to go.
Well done. Brad Keselowski wins the clash in a 1-2 finish for Team Penske.
And a couple of days ago in Las Vegas, they posted the odds for the Daytona 500, and it was that man, Brad Keselowski, the early favorite at 8-1. Well, he took care of the clash. That's another check mark for him. We'll continue live from Daytona in just a moment.
So he'll be with us.
this year, are you, Ben?
Okay. There you go. Captain Roger Penske congratulating everybody. A trio. It's a three-team full-time this year. Blaney, who had kind of worked with Logano and Penske, but in victory lane, Brad Keselowski. And interesting, because we were talking off of pole day qualifying as we welcome you back trackside here about, with the Fords who had good speed weeks last year, where were they at that? Well, they showed up big here.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. We have a whole new rules package. Chevrolet has a whole new car in the Camaro. The Toyotas are always strong here, but when they got to racing, we knew the racing would be different this year because of the new rules, but the Fords, they were the cars to beat. It'll be interesting, though, Chris. I think it was really situational. Whoever got in front was able to fight and block off, and it was just too strong, those three Fords tied together for anybody to go at them.
And we had the 6 cars wrecked. Jimmy Johnson was evaluated and released.
I was usually evaluated and kept.
I mean, that was at the zoo. That had nothing to do with the medical center. We'll get more updates. But we'll be at the Chuckle Hut later in Ormond Beach. Let's head upstairs, get some final thoughts from Daryl, Mike, and Jeff.
We'll try to follow that.
Well, you're right. At the top of the day on Fox, Chevy and Toyota dominated Daytona 500 qualifying, each taking 3 of the top 6 spots. The fastest Ford was 8th. Here in the clash in race trim, Fords take positions 1 through 4, 1, 2, and 4 for the Penske cars, and Kurt Busch finishing in 3rd. So what do we make of all that?
Well, that's what they've been doing on restrictor plate tracks the last couple of years. They've really dominated, maybe not in qualifying, but in the races. So not totally surprised. I thought Brad Keselowski drove an excellent race. I mean, he started in the back. He showed some aggressive moves to make some spots. He learned a lot through that first half of the race. Then they did all the right pit strategy to get him out front. From that point on, it was all in his rearview mirror.
And with just 2 tires.
Yeah, Mike, I think the thing that I took away from the day was the cars are moving around a lot, and you can get big runs. You can make passes. When you get a run, you seem to be able to complete that pass. But the other thing you got to remember, folks, these cars are running faster here than they ever have before. The faster you go, the harder they are to handle. And that's what I saw today. A lot of these guys, they got a lot of work to do before the 150s on a Thursday.
Yeah, a lot of passing on fresh tires in the early going. Not so much later on when they lined up single file. Let's go to lap 34. Here is Kurt Busch in the 41, which had a little contact with Jamie McMurray. Ended up damaging Jamie's car as he went to the infield grass and eventually out of the race. Kurt soldiered home for a 3rd place finish. Let's hear from him.
The clash is in the books, and for Kurt Busch, a top 3 finish. But what did you learn most that you hope to carry throughout the rest of Speed Week?
Yeah, project number 1 was run all the laps and get a good read on the tires, the pressure buildup, and then the overall setup. Project 2 was have fun. It was a blast to be out there and just be back in the groove and to race with some of the best stock car guys in the world. It's a challenge and it's fun. Thirdly, with Billy Scott, new crew chief, that first day, just getting it under our belt, and now we'll go back and debrief about the setup. Ultimately, though, a lot of Fords up front. I like that. I've got a Ford. Those Penske guys, though, it just seems like they haven't missed a beat with the new rules. So we're going to talk with Harvick, my teammate, and we'll make our cars better. But just thanks to everybody, Stuart Haas. Car didn't have a scratch on it. I got into McMurray a little. Maybe he changed lanes, but the cars, right, when you're that close, they move around a lot. And I think he got loose. I was getting tight at the same time. So you got to find where the limits are, and I'm glad we were able to make all the laps today.
Confidence high for last year's Daytona 5 winner, hoping to make it back-to-back next Sunday.
All right, I guess Sterling Marlin the last to do that as Brad Keselowski celebrates his Clash win. 43 laps led for him. And you see Joey Logano, Mike, referring to the Ford domination. Austin Dillon actually started on the pole. Denny Hamlin, who's going to start on the front row at the Daytona 500.
And a great 10th place finish by Kyle Larson. He had a car he could barely hang on to, was able to do just that.
And Chase Elliott led 17 laps, second most, but unfortunately caught up in that crash on the final lap. Keselowski, #1 today in Daytona. And we'll have more in a moment. At some point, write that down.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Coverage of the NHRA Winter Nationals coming up next here on FS1. After our post-race coverage, John Forrest walked away after this happened to his funny car, an explosion Friday during the second annual qualifying session at the Winter Nationals in Pomona. His daughter, Top Fuel champ Brittany Forrest, suffering a first-round accident earlier today. She is alert and responsive. Safety personnel reaching her, transporting her to a local hospital for evaluation. But again, our coverage of this on FS1, NHRA Winter Nationals, coming up after we finish in Daytona as the two-car, the Ford Fusion of Roger Penske and Brad Keselowski in victory lane. Jimmy Johnson has won here, Michael, once before in this race, the Clash, but for him, again, it continues to be a crash. He almost made it through the 7th straight race that the 48 has been involved. Sometimes his fault, sometimes it's not. Let's find out this time with Jamie Little.
Jimmy Johnson was oh so close to finishing this Clash, and then all of a sudden it was over. There was a lot of talk coming into this race about the new noses on these Camaros. What did you feel once the 42 got to you?
Yeah, I got turned pretty quick. So Larson and I were just talking about that in the care center. I need to go back and look at the video and see if he really did get me center and if that could have been a contributing factor to it. Half the lap before that, I think the 41 got to me and pushed me pretty hard, and everything was fine. So in my head, I kind of cleared that concern and was looking out the windshield, sitting in a great spot, and unfortunately didn't make it back. Thanks.
All right,
yeah.
thank you.
Just glad that he's okay physically. Mentally, he's probably a little bummed, but saving it up for the 500.
I think what they'll learn when they study this accident is that there was such closing rate by Kyle Larson. He was off center a bit too. He wasn't exactly behind Johnson. That punch, that hit into the back end, could have happened from any car with that much difference in speed between them. So I thought I would see more issues with the Chevy bumpers.
Yeah.
We didn't really see that. I think that was just a situation where the big run that Kyle Larson had was just more than Jimmy Johnson could handle.
But you were the nose. You were talking about that too. They're just getting used to that for the drivers on the Camaro.
Well, you know how bad you want to push, and you know how big those runs can be. We saw that all race long, and it was time to go at the end. Kyle had a big run. You're not going to roll off the gas and not give that push, but we learned something here. We know he can't hit him that hard. It's going to cause a wreck, and that's exactly what we saw.
All right, let's hear from some more drivers, and we'll start with Ryan Blaney and our Matt Yoakum.
The captain's Fords were lined up in formation coming to the white, and Ryan Blaney, you seem to be in perfect position. Did your teammate put the bumper to you for a move, or did you maybe make your move a little too soon?
Yeah, I thought we were getting in a good spot, and I was trying to time when I thought I could get a run, and Joey was helping me a lot, and I thought we had a decent head of steam. He was bumping me pretty good, and I was loose, but it didn't turn me to the bottom. I turned to the bottom to try to get a run on Brad, and it just wasn't the right time, and so it's probably my fault. I could have done that a little bit better, but learned a lot about our car and kind of where it goes on two tires or late in a run. So I could have done a lot better, but proud of our effort today, and hopefully we learned something for next week.
Definitely a nice recovery, finishing 4th.
Well, Kyle Busch has been checked and released after that. Kyle, take us through kind of your perspective, basically on the race, but actually the incident.
Yeah, I mean, the race was kind of backwards. You know, early on we were getting a little dicey and some things were kind of happening then, and then towards the end of the race, obviously the second half was kind of single file. Normally it's the other way around, but I just unfortunate that that kind of we got caught up in that, and you know, we were a little bit farther ahead at that time. But overall, our M&M's Camry was pretty good. I thought we were out handling a couple guys that I was watching in front of us anyways, and we just never got the opportunity to get up front or have the field kind of separate a little bit more. And I'd like to see more separation if we can get that with something in order to just kind of make the race where, you know, drivers have to come more into play and you're not just driving the heck out of your car because your car's the same as the guy in front of you, you know. So overall, though, take this as a learning experience with this new package and head on into 500.
And for Austin Dillon, a top 5 finish here in Daytona in the Clash. So looking at this event, what do you take away most that you're like, if you could armchair quarterback it, you might have done a little bit different?
Well, I tell you, I'm just happy to be competitive like that. It's the first time in 2 years that we could lead a lane and switch back and forth and maintain track position. So I'm pumped. I really am proud of my Dow Camaro ZL1, and going into 500, my guys are jacked up too. We're just got to get a little work. When we get back in traffic, we lost a little track position there, and it did drive worse. So we'll work on handling a little bit, but the speed should be there, and it was fun being out there with that 3-car. Hope all the fans enjoyed it. I know it took a while there at the end, but it looks easier than it is. I mean, you're getting these huge runs, and you're trying to drive a push out of the car, not run over the guy in front of you. And I made a move there with 3 to go, and it kind of shoved me back, but that's actually what got me back up to 5th because I got a bigger run the second time. And it was fun working with those guys. We were competitive. I'm happy.
Fun meter definitely high for Austin Dillon.
Well, Kyle Larson has been checked and released now from the Care Center, and you're all so close to making it to the end, but then you got up to Jimmy, and what happened?
Yeah, you know, that's the first time I've went to push somebody, and I hit him pretty solid, and it just turned him into the wall. So you hate that I was the one to cause the wreck. I still haven't seen a replay. Obviously, I know I'm the one that started that, but I'd just like to, you know, see if I did hit him as hard as I think I did, or what, or if our bumpers just don't line up as well with the new Camaros or what. But yeah, I hate that I was the one to do that. Our DC Solar Chevy was a handful all race, and it was even in practice yesterday. So we'll have a lot of work to do to just get it driving, you know, stable enough for me to run 500 miles next Sunday. So tough race, I guess. You know, I felt on edge the whole time. So like I said, I've got some work to do.
Certainly stability needed for Kyle Larson moving forward.
Thanks, Jamie. He almost crashed early in the race, wound up 10th, and this on the final lap. Obviously, had some issues here with the crash, but this is the save earlier.
Yeah, he just tried to dive low. It looked like he made maybe second thought that decision and was going to move back up. And only Kyle Larson, I think, saves a car like that. Chris, he spent the whole offseason racing a dirt car in America, over in New Zealand, and those skills definitely helped him save that race car here at Daytona.
Kyle Larson with 4 wins last year, 8 times he finished second, a guy we should watch for the championship and next Sunday's running of the Daytona 500.